All right, Deliante, that was awesome, man. Thank you so much. And
Appreciate you.
uh, we want to say hello to some folks watching on Zoom out there, and both the Wheeling campus and the Tampa campus. So thank you for joining us remotely. For those of you here today, you're in for a special treat. Before Kyler and I get started, I want to just level set. Like what we're here to talk about today is not the Bears, not the Bears season. What we're here to talk about today is about a man who, in some cases, may be younger than you. Kyler's about to be 25 here in December, but is close enough to your age that he understands what you're going through. He's got some similarities in his lived experience, but more importantly than that, even is the understanding that he set his mind on a goal and he had a big dream and he accomplished it. And that is what we're trying to talk about here today. In fact, to give you some clarity on the size of that dream, there are 1.2 million high school football players in this country. There are 81,000 college football players in this country. There are 1,600 NFL football players in this country. There are 225 rookies who play in the NFL. The chance of you getting struck by lightning is 1 in 15,000. That means that it's 80 times harder to make the NFL. Your odds of making the National Football League are 80 times greater than your chance of getting struck by lightning. That gives you a sense of how hard this is, how much work this takes, how much belief in yourself this relies on. And so that's why we're here to talk to Kyler, because this is a man who from a young age believed in himself, believed what he can do, and made his dream possible. And we hope that for all of you in the NLU system, that you can and will do the same thing. So Kyler, congratulations on all those
Appreciate you.
successes, and let's get ready to rock here. All right.
Definitely.
So tell us a little, yeah, you grew up in Seattle. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, the good and maybe some of the challenges too.
Yeah. So I'm from north of Seattle, about like 30 minutes. Grew up in a place called Marysville. I kind of moved all over in the Seattle area, Lake Stevens, Everett. If you're familiar with the area, probably not, but Seattle. Growing up as a kid, I did a lot of different things. My parents put me in a lot of different sports. My first everything I really did was competitive dance. Did that for a while, but swimming, soccer, football, lacrosse, tennis, anything you can think of, I tried and did it. I did a lot as a kid, enjoyed it. Traveled, did a bunch of sports, AAU. Family split up a little bit, rough. It was a good time though. Found people that I needed in my life. Moved in with friends. Took care. Went to good school. Still taken care of. Showed love. Had good parents in my life. Rough times definitely, but learned a lot. Then eventually went to college in Seattle, University of Washington. Played for the Huskies, and then enjoyed my process there. It was a good journey. Learned a lot of things.
And Kyler, you touched on the dance element of your career. In fact, you were a ballerina.
I say ballerino, dancing with the ballerinas.
Ballerino,
Yeah.
yes. Did you do that to be good at football, or did you have a different dream back in the day?
Yeah, so kind of like I said, dance was my first thing I really got into. My mom was a gymnast, so she kind of put me in it, and I started to take it on. Ballet was just one of the many genres that I did, and no, I wasn't for football at all, but definitely applied and helped and brought a different lot of strengths over.
When did you first have this? Because I think a lot of the students here, sort of in the process of dreaming right now about their career aspirations and ambitions. When did your ambition to play in the NFL start? When did that, in your mind, say, "Hey, this might be possible"?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because in my head, I always like, well, first growing up, like I knew football, basketball, something like active sports I wanted to do. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be at first, and honestly, in my head, playing football once that kind of became my love. Like that was the main thing I did after I stopped dancing. I love the NFL and all that, but I always thought it was hard. Like no one's gonna find me. Like there's so many people in the world. Like they're never gonna find me. Like my dad's like, if you're good, they'll find you. If you stay dedicated to what you got, they'll find you. And sure enough, my freshman year of college, had a good season. Started, or not college, high school. Got my first offer that summer. And I was like, damn, like they found me. Like this is for real. Like it can really happen. And since that moment, like I truly believe in myself that I could be found anywhere. And if I try my hardest, give my all, my 100%, my best, that anything's possible. And my mindset since my freshman year of high school has just been that. And it's blessed me with it.
Did you like manifest getting the NFL? Did you daydream about it? Did you write it down in terms of goals to get in the NFL? Was that part of your, plan?
Yeah, I would say every workout, every time I'm grinding, every time every game, every visualization, every time I sleep, dream, like those are my visions and what I wanted to be. And so manifesting it in my head daily was definitely something that I wanted. Every time I grinded, everything I did was intentional that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's an important lesson for our students that, you can't be what you can't see. And that's one of the reasons why we bring people like Kyler in here, but you also can't be what you can't see in your head. And if you want to be something and you want to be big, you have to think about it and visualize it in your head. It's called manifestation, and strongly encourage that. This has been a big part of my life and career journey as well. Um, so Kyler, when you think about, you know, it's interesting. People look at you as a 24-year-old Chicago Bear, and it's like, this guy's got it made, you know. But it's never that easy, There you have challenges too. What are like all these students and members of the staff do as well? What are the challenges in your life? What are the things that are still hard for you that you struggle with? I just asked Kyler a couple minutes ago, and I said when you go out with your friends, like most 24-year-olds, he's got buddies. He's single. He goes out to meet people and socialize. I asked him, do people bother you? Does that get under your skin? So you got to remember, like everybody, no matter how rich, no matter how famous, they have struggles too. What are your struggles?
Yeah. We'll start with the going out thing. Honestly, with stuff like that, with people, me just trying to be normal, whatever. Like, honestly, my mindset with that stuff, like, I have like extreme gratitude. Like, I'm grateful that someone can even recognize me or see me or say hi or be happy or inspired or whatever it is. Definitely grateful for that. But other struggles like that go on, it's every day. Like, football is performance based, so every single day your physical performance is graded, like no matter what. So that physical performance for a lot of players has a lot of mental strain on your head. So it's stressful. You always want to be perfect and perfect your craft and have the right technique and make the play. And so like it can be stressful if you don't make those plays or your coach is getting on you or it's a tough day at work or you feel a little sick or you're hurt or injuries nagging and the world doesn't know but and like you'll just never know. So like those struggles mentally, physically, and just trying to be on top of that and have that mental discipline and stuff like that. So it's definitely tough.
Go back to the we have on college campuses, not just here but across America. Mental health is a real issue. And is that anything you've ever struggled with in terms of mental health? And how have you worked through that?
Yeah, I feel like everyone, regardless, will go through some type of mental health, whether it's family, friends, random events in life that you can't control. Like it's uncontrollable. Honestly, you'll never know what you go through, but you're gonna have to go through it. So going through that experience and leaning on the people that you love to bring you up, talk to you, encourage you, and honestly, self-talk to yourself and finding different outlets for yourself to go out and release that, whether it be working out, hang out with friends, getting away, being in nature, like whatever it may be, finding those different outlets for yourself that help you feel better and stuff like that. So I have a bunch of different hobbies myself. Me, I'm a food guy, so I'm gonna go pick out on some good food, some steak, mac and cheese. Like that's gonna make me smile with some friends. So that might be my thing, or traveling, like whatever it might be. But everyone got something.
Do you meditate or do anything of that sort?
I'm more of a prayer, so
Okay.
I don't meditate. Like prayer is my meditation, basically. So um, whenever I'm down, or if I'm feeling grateful, or honestly, it could be any moment in my life that I feel like this is a God made moment. Let me pray real quick. Like I'll give thanks.
All right, all right. Well, I'm praying for the Bears to win the rest of their games.
Definitely
um, it's some.
encouraging them. You encouraging them.
um, at some point, the thing about the career you've chosen is that it's almost certain it's going to come to an end, and it's going to come to an end at a relatively young age. Because while yes, there are the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers of the world, that tends to be pretty few and far between. I mean, for those of you who don't know, the average tenure of an NFL football player is about 4 years. Right now, Kyler's in his third season, and certainly in the physical condition he's in, he's going to make it, more seasons than the 4 years. But nonetheless, also it's one of those professions where on any given day you never know, and tomorrow it could end. How are you, many of our students are sort of preparing for an end of their own. They're preparing for their collegiate career to end. and could be a year, could be 3 years, whatever it might be. And they're thinking about what they're going to do next.
Yeah.
How do you think about what you're going to do next and sort of like beyond football, this thing that you've trained for your entire life, and then it's going to be over? Could be 2 years, could be 7 years, who knows? But it's in the next decade, I'm sure.
Yeah. Honestly, in my head, like the same way, like from high school going to college and college going to NFL, like you never know if that plan is for sure. Like you're grinding and going towards the goals that you want that align with yourself. Like, and for me, sometimes I had to allow myself to know that like if this doesn't happen, it's okay. Like I don't always know the future. I can't predict it. Like it's okay, but as long as you're staying true to yourself and accomplishing those small goals, those small wins, you know, and keep adding and stacking those up that are gonna build you up to be that person you want to be or get to that job or that whatever goal that you have a line that you want to achieve, like that's what matters the most. You know, you're not always gonna know. It's not perfect. It's not stars aren't always aligned for you to see that vision perfectly, but it's about staying true to yourself and to your goals and not veering off the course and staying on that right path. Definitely.
Just out of curiosity from the audience, how many of you who are the students, I'm not talking to the staff, how many of you know with clarity what you want to do when you get out of NLU? Okay. So maybe, 15%, 20% of the audience. Okay. So the rest of you are still trying to figure it out. And that's actually exactly why we do events like this. So you can hear from people like Kyler. Now, I think you probably, because I've talked to you a little bit about it, at some point you want to go into business, right? And you want to figure out how to, invest wisely and do all those other things, right?
Definitely.
And any part of you that wants to go and be like an NFL commentator or anything like that, or no, you?
It's funny, like you say that, like I feel like a lot of players at first they're like, I don't want to be a coach. I've been in football so long, now I'm cool, I'm cool. But like the more I think about it, I'm like, it does kind of align with like what I love to do. You know, I love to teach and I love to learn. So you know that's a constant everyday thing for me. And I love to influence positively to whoever it is and help and change lives. So amongst doing that between football players or other people in the world, like I still think about it. Like there's still potential for it,
Yeah.
definitely.
And you are one of the athletes in this city who is really hell bent on prioritizing education for our youth. Um, and you're probably of the between the 5 or 6 major sports franchises in the city, Kyler stands out as probably the biggest advocate for youth education. I can't really think of another who's doing what he's doing. He's been principal for a day at a local elementary school. He's a part of any Hope Scholars in this room. Any Hope Scholars? Couple Hope Scholars in this room. Kyler is part of the Hope initiative, and in fact is going to be presenting at our Hope Gala tomorrow evening for those of you who may be there. But I guess the question for you is, Kyler, first of all, were you a good student? And second of all, why is education so important? Why is this your cause?
Yeah. I would definitely say I was a good student. I had a lot of energy, I was a goofball, I'm not gonna lie. So a little class clown, but I definitely love to learn. I was into the class, I was very about it. Whatever I did, I have fun with it. Definitely a good student. And in high school, apply myself a lot because I know that's what's gonna align with my goals, to be in the best college that I can be, to help me with football. You can't even do football without school. And so my main focus is be the best in school. That was my competition myself every day. Then football came second. But yeah.
All right. And when you were you in the draft room, and was it 22 or 23 when
I'm
you
22, yeah.
were you in the draft room?
Yeah,
Okay. And so you knew you were going to get drafted.
I did.
All right. And you were 39th, right? Is that right?
39th, yeah.
39th. All right, all right, all right. Was there ever a point when you were in the draft room where you were getting worried, like, holy cow, like,
Yeah, no, definitely.
and what were you going to do if for whatever reason the NFL didn't work out? Did you have a plan B or?
Yeah. In my head, I was in the draft room, like, I was super nervous, in that first round, those first 32 spots, in my head, like, oh, it's about to happen, da 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 da. I'm like so happy in my head, like, and for me to not to go the first round was like, damn, like in my head, but like honestly, you could think about it two different ways, like, oh, it's supposed to be this way, da da da, it's over, da da da. But like in my head, I'm like, I'm so grateful I get to be here. I'm so grateful I got all my family here. We get to celebrate this moment. We're in Las Vegas. Everyone's happy,
Mhm.
having a good time. I'm still grateful. I still get to walk on the stage. All the Bears fans are still there cheering me on. just have a moment of gratitude, really. But what was the last part of your question?
I think that was it. I think it was
Okay.
there was like, what is was there a plan B? Did you ever say to
Yeah.
yourself, there's a chance that I may not make the pros, and what am I going to do then?
Yeah, no, in college I was studying a lot of real estate. That was like my backup thing. I'd actually done work with a company over there in Everett, north of Seattle. So real estate was definitely the thing I really wanted to get into, that I started to look into, whether it's commercial, managerial. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but that's the area I really wanted to focus in, but didn't get there yet.
Awesome. All right, we should do some real estate
In the
together.
future, yeah.
There, I've noticed something interesting about you, and I don't know if others in the room sort of have done this, but you've aligned yourself with some really good people. One of them's out there, Chris Whitaker, your agent. And I've had the opportunity to meet your father, Bernard, a number of occasions. He is strong as hell. His dad, man, his dad's almost 70 years old, and he would beat my ass. I mean, he's in the gym.
Strong guy.
Yeah, I was actually going to go work out with him, but he hurt his back. So,
Lifting
but
too much.
you seem to surround yourself with really thoughtful, committed people. A lot of athletes get into the pro system, and it actually goes in a different direction. They end up being surrounded by people who, sort of that entourage, the people who want something from them, or probably not good influences on them. How did you break that mold and say, I'm going to be very, very specific around who I surround myself with, and why is that so important to you? I've noticed that about you.
Yeah, I feel like not everyone has the same goals or same paths that align with what you want to do, and that's going to take you to where you want to go. So I feel like it's very important to, like, you can have a circle that's fit for your lifestyle, what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. I feel like it's very important to have those people around you that are going to build you up and push you in that direction. They're going to hold you accountable. People that you can depend on, have that type of dependability and trust with them, that are going to push you in the direction that you want to be. For me, it's very important who I give my energy to. People could push and pull you one way or another, but getting a routine and staying level-headed and focused is very important, and not having people on the outside that are gonna throw your feng shui off.
Your feng shui, I like that. So I assume there are a lot of people who are like clamoring to meet you, spend time with you. I just out of curiosity, how do you distance people? How do you like keep distance from other people who are not, are not a good influence? Do you have a strategy for that? Or you just
Yeah, I think that's like a tough thing you learn in kind of like getting at the spot position. Like it's tough saying no sometimes. To people that you love, or friends of friends, or random people that are asking for this and that. Because you want to be able to help anyone, especially me. Like I feel like I want to be able to help anyone whatever way I can, if I'm able to. But it definitely can be draining. So it's definitely just I am still creating a strategy. I'm not gonna lie, but it'd be tough. Just being honest but nice about it, and just being respectful. No one can say nothing about you if you're just being respectful about it.
Right, right. That is I've had the good fortune to know a bunch of celebrities, and myself. I came into a meaningful amount of wealth, and so I know what it's like to be asked for things all the time. And this is a pain point for people of wealth and celebrity, that you have people coming at you all the time with different asks, and they don't. When you say no, they may interpret it differently than you mean it. And that's a struggle for guys like Kyler, and just something to, I have empathy for that, because I understand it to a certain extent. Kyler, what for our students here who are, again, and somewhere in their collegiate journey, ranging from first year to seniors, what's a really good piece of advice you have for them as they're sort of figuring out their lives and deciding, what their dream is, sort of like the dream you had in the NFL. You have a good piece of advice for these kids?
Yeah. I feel like for me, one piece of advice that I feel like I learned, I know you guys probably might have heard it in different forms or ways, but time management and routine, I feel like that's huge. Being able to create a schedule for yourself, create a schedule for success that aligns for the things that you want, and knowing what that goal is that you want, and slowly chipping away at it. It's not going to happen right away. Like, it's not going to happen 1, 2 days, 3 days. It might be a month, it might be 2, 3, half year. Like, you don't know. But definitely like setting those aligned goals to be able to get to that point. That's what I would say.
Having that, I always say to people, like, if I live on the North Shore and, if I wanted to get down to National Lewis, I wouldn't just put, Chicago, Illinois in the GPS. I would put National Lewis in the GPS, which means that what I'm trying to say is like, you need a specific destination to build a roadmap to get there. He had a specific destination on getting to the NFL, so he built the roadmap to get there. So one of the pieces of advice is think about that with as much specificity as possible, that destination you eventually want to get to, and then start to build the roadmap back to figure out how to get there.
Very, very important to be intentional about what you do.
Did you write down your dreams and aspirations and ambitions?
I have stuff from high school, letters, you write to yourself in the future. I have a couple of those definitely tucked away.
That's awesome. I like that. All right. All right, we're gonna do a little lightning round with Kyler, and then we're gonna open up. People have some questions? Questions? All right, cool. We're gonna open up to a little Q&A. All right, so lightning round, which is just I'm gonna ask Kyler, 6, 7 questions, and these are quick, simple responses. All right, Kyler, favorite football team not named the Chicago Bears?
Growing up, Steelers.
Steelers.
Yeah,
But you're from Seattle.
I am.
So what what was it about the Steelers? Like, was it a player on the Steelers?
It's funny because growing up, so I had like long curly hair. I know I got braids right now, but growing up, everyone would call me Troy Polamalu.
Oh
I
yeah.
have my long curls going out, so I watched a lot of Troy Polamalu, his highlights playing safety with the Steelers, and ever since then, like that was my team. It was Steel Curtains. I followed them. I wasn't really into the Seahawks at the moment. They was losing bad, so I found love in the Steelers.
All right. Well, you're not going to meet the Steelers this year unless you make the Super Bowl. And so, if you played the Steelers in the Super Bowl, who would you be rooting for? The Bears or the Steelers?
The Bears all the way. You already know.
Just
Give me this
sure.
opportunity to be here, man. I'm great.
Just making sure. Just making sure. All right. If you weren't playing football, what would your job be today? I think we answered that. Probably something in real estate, right? Okay, cool. All right. What's the best movie you've seen in the last few years?
Yeah. That's funny. Recently, one of my best friends showed me this movie called The Imitation Game. It's a really good movie. Takes back in World War II. It's about this guy, this mathematician that figures out the German Enigma code to help solve World War II. And just the story behind it. I won't spoil it for nobody, but definitely a good movie. Definitely a good movie.
All right, good. You have one thing I've always respected about Kyler. He's a man of diverse interests. He's very curious. He likes, lots of stuff, including history, which is, I think all of us should maintain a degree of insatiable curiosity. He definitely exhibits that. What's your favorite destination to travel to? I know you love travel.
Yeah. I really love tropical things. So that's my thing. Being in the sun, toes in the sand. That's my thing for sure. Places I've been so far that I love, I say my first spot is Barcelona. Barcelona, like my thing. But if I had to go to some tropical spot that I haven't been to yet, I think right now my spot I want to go to is Maldives.
Maldives. All right, I'm gonna go there as well. All right, cool. Texting or talking live? What do you prefer?
Ooh. I'm gonna go ahead and say talking live.
All right.
Yeah. Busy.
Yeah.
Tired. Like checking text cool, here and there, I got practice here, then a lift here, then running this meeting here. So text here, but like end of the day, call you a couple hours. I think that's cool.
All right, cool. I thought you were going to say texting. I thought you were going to say texting.
Nah.
You don't have a lot of time, and texting is pretty quick.
One good solid call.
Yeah. But you know what I hate? I like talking live too, but you know what I hate? I hate listening to voicemails.
Hey, yeah, nah.
Yeah, that's
hop on the phone.
That's a real struggle for me. All right, you're single, so you're not dating anyone right now. So I can ask you this: who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, what'd you say? I'm dead.
Can't say Taylor Swift. She's taken.
Nah. What'd you say? Nah, hell nah. I don't know. I can't really think of one I got right now. To be honest, I'm in football mode.
All right, we'll say Taylor Swift.
I'll come back to it.
Don't tell Travis. Well, you've done some traveling adventures. You ever bungee jumped out of a plane? What's the scariest thing you've ever done?
Yeah, nah. So recently, last February, me and a couple of my best friends went to Cabo. Cliff jumping. Nice cliff, free fall. screaming. All my
Crazy.
friends, everybody screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Did your life flash before your eyes?
You just don't know. You think the rope might break, hit your face right on the rocks. Like it's scary. You don't know what's gonna happen, but
All right.
we all survive.
Would you advocate that everyone here does some cliff jumping?
Yeah, if you like nature, a little hiking mixed with it, and go cliff jumping, zip lining. It's fun.
All right.
I recommend it. It's scary though.
What is your one or two more quick ones that weren't on the script? What's your favorite fashion label?
Passionate like brand.
Yeah, brand. Yeah.
Hmm. I've been introduced to a lot of new things recently. Honestly, I've been seeing a lot of new pieces.
Yeah.
Got real quiet.
All right, we can come back.
No. I think right now, a brand that I've been starting to look into a lot, would be Bodie.
Bodie.
Bodie's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I
It's
guess
new to me, but definitely a lot of cool
I'm
pieces.
in my 40s, so I don't know that one. All right. I think that's good. I think we want to open it up to some Q&A here. We got some nice time for some questions. So for those of you who have questions for Kyler, again, I'm not going to say anything is off limits, but let's try and focus it on him as a person, his ascent, his career, versus sort of the broader, Chicago Bears stuff. Who?
I'll start it off. A little sentimental question. You feel me? Was there a time in your career or just life in general, and this goes for both of y'all, when you questioned the grind, where you had to stop and be like, "Is this really what I want to do?" And then after that happened, what got you back on the grind?
Yeah. Definitely had a moment like that. I say my freshman year of college. That transition going from high school to college, kind of being that number one dude in college, high school, and then going to college and not having that same anything, kind of like that restart button. You got to grind again. You got to work your way all the way to the top. Like that whole rebuild of that process and journey. Like I started waking up at 5 a.m. for the college workouts, the whole new cycle, the whole new routine. Like I was like, damn, do I really want to wake up at 5 every day? Like, it's not what I want to do. But talking to myself in your head, positive reaffirmation and doing a lot of different things. And I love that sport. I talk to myself and like, this is what I love. This is what I believe in. Have faith in myself. People around me that sacrifice a lot for me to be in this position. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just say in my journey, I have this saying that I talk about with my three teenage kids. Having three teenage kids is not easy. So, but I always remind them, I said, we're always on the rise, which means that, while there could be a detour thrown, your way or a boulder you have to climb over, if your mentality is I'm always on the rise, you sort of keep at it. And so I built a company that went from 0 to 4 billion over a period of 5 years. 9,000 employees, the fastest growing company in the history of Chicago. And there were many moments on that journey where I was, questioning that path because I would never saw my wife. I never saw my three kids. But I felt like I was always on the rise, like this too would pass. And the one lesson or one major lesson that my parents taught me is just a discipline, a moral imperative in our family was finish what you started. So if you kind of combine, finish what you started with, I'm always on the rise. That's kind of what got me, to and through sort of my difficult journeys.
And I like that. I can't wait to grow up like y'all, but I'm 5'4". I'm done growing up.
It seems like definiteness of purpose drove you to be a football player. What advice would you give to students that are still finding their definiteness of purpose in the drive?
So the last part again, my bad.
What advice would you give to students that are still trying to find that definiteness of purpose in wanting to find out what they want to do?
Yeah. I would tell those kids that it's okay not knowing. It's definitely not like not everyone knows right away. Like no one's gonna find out. And then boom, all of a sudden I'm gonna be I'm gonna work for NASA. Like you just never know. But to those kids, what I would tell them is to stay on that grind, stay on that course, to the things that align for what you do want to do. If math is what you love to do or cooking is what you want to do, finding those things that add up and fix what you want to go and do. So that's really what I would say.
Would you say that always have a goal, but understand and acknowledge it's okay to pivot if your mindset
Definitely.
changes? Yeah, right.
Definitely. I think it's just building the small wins. Like Not everything is being flexible. You know, not everything is going to be the way you picture it. So telling yourself already ahead of time that like it's not always going to be the way I align. Don't have your expectations too high. Don't have your expectations too low. You know, be level headed, be right in the middle. And I always tell myself that never too high, never too low. Could be the best day of the world. I think everything going right, level headed. It could be the worst day in the world. Could be worse. You know, like happy medium.
Mhm. Anyone here ever heard of the Stockdale paradox? Because to his point, that's one of the things that maybe it's important to learn. Stockdale paradox. Admiral Stockdale was the guy who was a prisoner of war in Korea, and his fellow prisoners of war, they would say, well, we're getting out at this Christmas, or we're getting out Easter, or we're getting out by July 4th, and he never believed that. He always said, "I'm getting out. I just don't know when." And the young men who were beside him who were saying, "We're getting out in 10 days on Christmas," it was a struggle for them. They couldn't confront the brutal facts. They couldn't confront the fact that it wasn't reality. Stockdale knew that he would be more successful if he didn't set a date and didn't have unrealistic expectations. If he had realistic expectations, he confronted the brutal facts, but at the same time possessed real optimism that one day he would indeed not be a prisoner of war. And so that's an important thing to remember, right? Like you can have optimism, but you can also be a realist at the same time. All right. Other questions? Yeah.
So when you was in 2022, when you was picked for the 39th overall draft pick for the second round, what was how did that make you feel as a person, knowing that, like, did you feel that you knew you was going to be picked, or like how did it make you feel?
Yeah. In that moment, I didn't know where I was gonna get picked. I knew I put in the work to get picked somewhere. I didn't know at that moment where. Um, at that moment, I had a lot of mixed feelings going everywhere. To be honest, I didn't know where my life was gonna go at that point. What state, what my life was gonna be. You know, I could have not been here. But at that moment, finding out that Chicago picked me, gave me opportunity, like I just like a burst of multiple emotions, bro. Like extreme gratitude, grateful, the moment of my family being here, like just the feeling of love, like feeling blessed by God, like just grateful for all that time before that, those 12 years of football playing before that I even got to this moment to be that thankful to get blessed like that, to be picked and play in a professional thing and in a job that I love. So just extreme gratitude.
All right, cool. So I do have a question. So you both have done a lot to get where you are right now, but how have you dealt with imposter syndrome when you got to that point? And then how to avoid plateauing, although you've reached that peak or that pinnacle where you are right now?
I'll answer it first. I mean, I still, it's a great question. And I think for those of you who aspire to be an entrepreneur, I've started 7 companies, taken 2 of those companies public. And collectively, those companies have created about $10 billion in value. So I felt like I've been on the rise, but I think the hallmark of a great entrepreneur is you never feel like you summited. You never feel like you got to the top, because the second you feel like you got to the top is when you fall. I mean, one good example is like, if you look at all the things that happen in our world, 9/11 is unfortunately a really good example. We got cocky. We stopped understanding what was happening in the realm and the terroristic cells around the world. Thought we were immune to a terrorist attack. We put our defenses down. So when you get cocky and you think you've summited to the mountaintop, that's when the downfall starts. So I just kind of believe, like I said, I'm always on the rise. Like I'm always aspiring to do something else, to make more impact. So I don't ever feel like I've plateaued. I don't ever feel like I've made it. And I feel like that's just the best mentality to possess, in this day and age.
Yeah, no, to add on to what he said, for me, it's always been not being complacent, especially in the sport of football, and getting it to those levels. Yeah, it's really been like, for me, like I've been treating it kind of like a video game. Like every level I'm trying to grind, I'm trying to get to the next prestige and sergeant in general. Like that's just how I view it. And to go to what you're saying, what was that I wanted to add on what you said?
Never summited the mountaintop.
Huh?
And never summited to the top of the mountain.
Nah. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it.
all right,
But
all right.
yeah, no.
That's a really good
that's
question, though.
Yeah.
It's a real good question. Who else?
Hello. Okay. Hi, my name is Malik, by the way. So you have to go through a lot of grinding to get to where you both are. My question is, how do you not get lost? Because that's really easy to do when you're like laser focused and you have people who rely on you. So how do you balance being able to get what you're trying to achieve without leaving people behind you in the dust?
I'd really say just breaking it apart. You know, like those three different things that you have, I'll separate all three of those things. Or I would create three different pieces, you know, those people, my work, and my time to recuperate. Everyone needs time to recuperate, regenerate, get your mind right, you know, fix yourself what you need to. And you know, like you have to be able to distinguish those three and get yourself right in order to be able to go and, you know, put your full maximum effort into that work or to go and talk to those people and, you know, help and whatever you need. Definitely those things. That's why I say just breaking it apart and applying those.
Yeah, Malik, I would say, you know, I live by two adages, and I think both have sort of propelled me. One is possess strong opinions loosely held. So I have strong opinions and beliefs, but they're loosely held enough where I know I don't have a monopoly on good ideas. So I'm willing to learn from other people, right? If you're always learning from other people, if you're always curious, you can always sort of get through. The other is a quote by a guy named John C. Maxwell. He said, the biggest gap in the world is the gap between I should and I did. And I just stopped saying I should do something. And when I think that I should do something, I just go do it. And I'll give you one little example. Maybe this is something in a world we live in that where people are lonely and struggling. I have this ethos where if I think about someone and I'm concerned about them, worried about them, wondering about them, I text them. Just like that's my discipline. Like if I'm thinking about you, I text them. And so instead of just saying I should do it, I actually do it. And so those are the two things that have sort of powered me through no matter what I'm going through. Great question.
Hi, my question is inspired by an anime I recently watched, but also curiosity of if it happens in real life. Basically, the main character, it was expressed that athletes have a moment where they get more hooked on that sport or more hooked on their dream. Have you ever had that moment where you probably did a certain play or did a certain trainer and something that made you just be like, yes, I'm more into it?
Yeah. So yeah, right around after that time where first got my first offer and I told you my mindset kind of switched that this is what I wanted to do. Soon after that, I got introduced to this trainer that was like about like an hour, 45 minutes from where I live. I met this trainer, you know, and it was a facility with a bunch of different guys that had a bunch of scholarships that were number one this, number one that, you know, and I came into an environment was like, wow, like being surrounded by these people is exactly what I want to do. And it's kind of what I was touching on earlier, you know, putting yourself in an environment that's gonna set you up for success. You know, all these guys had all these accomplishments, accolades, number one this guy's 6 foot and 250 and can bench the world, and this guy's as fast as lightning. It's like, dang, like I get to sharpen my tools and better myself as a person, athlete, putting myself in this environment. So really at that moment, being over there, I just got to upgrade myself as a human being, definitely, all the way around.
Real quick, Tatiana, do we have any questions from Wheeling or Tampa? Just want to make sure we include them if they do.
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, if the folks from Wheeling or Tampa have a question or two, come up, let me know, and we will try and accommodate that because we love you too. And we want to include you all. All right. Was there another question back there that I saw?
My question is, you're pursuing the career that you were going for, whether it's NFL or your career. I myself, I'm already making mistakes and having a couple of regrets. So I'm wondering, did you have any regrets while you were pursuing that career?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's tough because, you know, it's easy to look back on things and say, oh, I wish I would have changed it, because you never know the future or what's gonna come. You know, I remember being in college and making my decision saying I want to go to this college, like, dang, you know, I didn't get what I wanted right away. Like I didn't start. I didn't get this. Like everything that I had dreamed for myself, like, dang, I regret that. I wish I would have went to this school instead. But no, I really listen to myself like I did this and I chose it for a reason. You know, there's lessons to be found out of this. And honestly, I made the most of it. And I would honestly wouldn't go back and change the way I did it because I learned so much off it. It put me in the position where I am today. And you know, you just never know what you're gonna learn out of that choice or decision you made. Mistakes are always something that you can learn off of, and it's important to take those same things that you make and just not make it again. So that's just part of life, definitely.
Great questions.
Kyler, you're in a role or play for a sport where a lot of criticism can come from anywhere. How do
Yeah.
you handle that in terms of just being able to deal with the casual person? And then the second part of that is, what do athletes wish that the casual fan understood a little bit more about you guys and your sport?
Yeah, I love that question. Something I wish that people understood, I guess more that they'll never know is I guess the injury part of it. It's hidden, you know, like that's something you can't see underneath the pads, that no one understand. You know, I could have a messed up ankle, like a high ankle sprain, and you have to play through that for your teammates because people are depending on you and for you to get that job done, you know, because this is what they pay you for. And not a lot of people know that you're going out there like suffering, like doing whatever you can to do, whatever Advil, like Tylenol you can to get through it. Like it's a struggle sometimes. But yeah, that's something I would say let know. And that first part of your question was criticism. Yeah. For me, there's a lot on social media. There's a lot everywhere. There's already definitely been some things on social media that you've seen. But for me, I don't even really hop on it. I'm never really a guy that likes to dig into those things because it doesn't really accomplish anything for me. Um, and then kind of going back to what I said about being too high, too low, like I can make a good play, I can make a bad play. Like I'm not about to read the worst of it, and I'm not about to read the best of it. It's like that's all about like that's in the past. Like how can I make the next play? How can I make the next big thing? How can I improve myself to be this better of a person, or you know, and not regressing? So that's just kind of like my mindset towards it.